Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Life in General podcast. My name is Nick.
My name is...
My name is...
What? My name is what?
Yeah, I never expected that to come from you, Ian.
Why? Familiar with it?
Yeah, I guess. But what's going on, man?
Nothing.
I just realized we've been podcasting almost 5 years now.
I know. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Very crazy. Well, you said I don't know. I don't never have anything new to bring to the table, so I should guess I maybe tell you what I think I might be trying soon.
What's that? Heroin?
Well, similar. I was thinking because I don't really think that poverty agrees with me. I'm thinking that I should start an OnlyFans. Make $1 billion.
What?
Sex sells, man.
Is that something you could do on OnlyFans?
I don't know what the fuck you do.
I don't know what you do.
I just
on
thought
there.
it was porn.
So it's not all porn.
I know, but I just thought it's if you're making money on OnlyFans, it's probably porn.
And most people don't make a lot of money on OnlyFans. I want to say I was reading it because we were actually talking about this at work not too long ago, and I looked it up, and I want to say the average payout per month for OnlyFans was like $70 or $80.
I thought it was like something where kind of when people paid directly to you.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, but very few people make a lot of money off of it. If the average is $80, that means for the people that are making a lot of money, there's a whole shitload more that are making absolutely nothing.
I mean, how else sell feet pics if it makes any money?
I don't think no one's gonna buy pictures of your feet on there though.
You never know.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I was a woman, I would absolutely have an OnlyFans. And you're right, I would sell fucking feet pics on there,
butt pics.
I would sell like fucking dirty panties on there, whatever you fucking want.
Yeah, because you make a fortune.
You fucking weirdos, you take whatever you want.
Well, really, it's not even like, I don't even think should be any like stigma about that. You're not selling yourself, you're just selling shit, and it's like,
oh well, there is like people. There are people that sell like straight up porn.
Yeah,
on there.
but even that, I'm sex positive. I don't give a shit about that. But I
don't really care either. But
feet pics and used panties. It's no different. The feet pics is a little bit of a stretch, but
so
throwing mailing your underwear to some guy that you never met and never will meet is no different than throwing it in the fucking garbage. You never know where it's going to go.
It is gross. I will tell you though, there was a guy I worked with in Tennessee a long time ago that he had this like weird foot fetish, like really fucking weird foot fetish, and he would always talk about like how his girlfriend's feet would fit perfectly on the side of his face and things like that, and it's like. I just assumed that he probably had bodies buried in his backyard.
Yeah, well, it's no different than those guys who like to have women step on their balls with stilettos
That's
on.
fucking weird, too.
I know, it's all the same.
Because at no point in my life have I ever thought, you know what I really need right now? Someone just like kick me in the junk. That's exactly what I need.
Right.
Stepping
on it would be even worse because it's like,
the constant pressure.
Constant pressure.
I did see I don't know what it was on. I don't know if I read it on internet or saw it on YouTube or whatever, the cum dumpster that is YouTube, except for the Vinyl Den. You should check the Vinyl Den out.
YouTube isn't a cum dumpster. It's more of like a vapid void.
Yeah. But I saw a guy that was like, what did he say? He said, you can kick me in my junk, and if I flinch, I'll pay you $100. So people were like just kicking.
He's one of those guys who probably likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. He probably gets his junk stepped on in stilettos.
Yeah. Hey, to each their own. Like I said, I'm sex positive, but it's like, not me. No,
OnlyFans. I will say, like, I've only like the first couple of times I heard about OnlyFans, I was like, what the fuck is this? And I like went on there, but like I've never paid anything on there.
Right.
And I will say there's a lot of like profiles that you skim through, and they're like, nudity free and things like that. Yeah. So there are a lot of like legitimate, like just like modeling pictures and stuff like that on there. But
yeah, I just figured I'd throw that out there because you just made the comment that I never have anything new going on in my life. So
you're just gonna start an OnlyFans.
Hey, whatever it takes. I'll sell my underwear online. I don't give a shit.
That's gross.
Yeah, tell me about it. I got to clean that shit.
Literally.
No, my underwear is pretty. It's still my fucking underwear. My balls are sweating in it all fucking day.
Jeez, I don't want to think about your balls again. And now that no one's listening to the show, now we.
What are you talking about? Everyone wants to think about my balls.
Oh God. So what else is going on, man? Anything
No.
other than just the OnlyFans thing?
Yeah.
I did come across a. This was on the. Where did I find this on? This was on social media. It was on Instagram. I came across this post, and it said that it was talking about because we talked about, social media and
Being the death of humanity.
well, that and like censorship and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this post. It said, a new study proves that conservatives. I don't like the way they worded it. Proves is not. I would not say.
No.
I would say a new study shows, but it doesn't prove anything. But anyway, I'm just going to read this post of what it says. It says, a new study proves that conservatives get moderated disproportionately on social media because they're the ones posting misinformation or hate speech, while black and transgender people get moderated disproportionately for expressing their identity and following site policies. Which that's always the thing that always got me is that's always thing.
I don't know what that really proves. It just says that.
So think about it this way: like after the Affordable Care Act and all that was passed, there was a lot of like conservative sites that were being shut down, right, or censored, and there was a lot of like nonprofit conservative groups that were getting looked into. They're being investigated by IRS and all that stuff, and like everyone was screaming from the fucking rooftops, "Oh, well, this is because we're conservatives." And my whole thing at the time was, no, it's because you've got all this dark money flowing into your damn organizations now.
Right.
And that's why they're looking at you. There's reasons. There can be other reasons why you're being looked at. And that's the whole thing with like the censorship of conservatives in social media. It's not because you're conservative. It's because you're spreading hatred and misinformation.
Right. See, that's what I get from that statement. It's not saying that conservatives are being disproportionately censored. It's saying that the conservatives who have been censored because of hate speech and false information. And the same with black and LGBT and all that being censored for community guideline stuff. It doesn't say that. It doesn't mean that they're more likely to be censored.
Yeah.
It just says that that's the vast majority of why they're being censored.
So I saw that post, and then I went and like looked up the research article because that's what you should do.
Right.
Like, okay, let's actually see what this is. And during I'll read part of the abstract for the research that it did. It said that it says we found that 3 groups of social media users in our data set experience content and account removals more often than others: political conservatives, transgender people, and black people. However, the types of content removed from each group varied substantially. Conservative participants removed content included content that was offensive or allegedly so misinformation in quote marks there, COVID-related, adult, or hate speech. Transgender participants' content was often removed despite following site guidelines because they were, it says transgender participants' content was often removed as adult despite, that's why they kept throwing me off because I don't think the word adult is supposed to be in there.
Well, I think
despite following site guidelines.
Implying that they're probably talking about subject matters that would be considered to be adult, like you're talking about gender and sexuality and stuff like that.
Critical of a dominant group, e.g., men, white people, or specifically related to transgender or queer issues. It says black participants' removed content was frequently related to racial injustice or racism. More broadly, conservative participants' removals often involved harmful content removed according to site guidelines to create safe spaces, which I hate that term, safe spaces,
right,
with accurate information, while transgender and black participants' removals often involved content related to expressing their marginalized identities that was removed despite following site policies or fell into content moderation gray areas.
I don't know. I mean, I want to be a free speech purist, but intellectually I can't.
There has to be a line somewhere.
Well, no, I don't think there has to be a line, but there has to be consequences. I mean, anyone can say whatever they want. And I think and for the most part, when you're talking about Facebook or Instagram or any kind of social media,
Free speech
That
doesn't
is-
apply.
well, it does to the
It
extent.
doesn't. Hold
No,
on,
listen.
hold on. And that's the thing, though.
No,
is-
let me finish
okay,
my
fine,
statement.
fine.
It does to the extent that the owners of the company with which the social media platform is on allows it. They have every right to censor you. You have every right to say whatever you want, but the company also has a right to say we don't want that on our site because
Yes,
it's a private company.
They're able to moderate.
That's So I don't see any free speech infringement there because it's
none
free,
exists.
right? Because free speech is being utilized in both directions. There's just consequences.
Free speech doesn't exist. Like free speech, the freedom of speech is there only saying that the government won't limit your speech.
Right. Or
As-
punish you for what you say.
Yes, it has nothing to do with a private entity like Facebook or
Right.
whatever they are now. Meta, I think, is what they are now.
Yeah, as of yesterday.
Facebook, Instagram, whatever like social media site or private entity, they can limit your speech. Your employer is legally allowed to limit your speech.
Right.
You know, that's the thing that always like drives me crazy when someone's like, "Oh, whatever happened to freedom of speech?" If it's not the government, it doesn't fucking apply.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, you have every right to say what you want. You can say it. It just doesn't mean that you're free from consequences of saying it.
Yeah.
So, as far as like free speech purists, that's where I'm a purist at. Is where it comes to, no, the government cannot sanction your
Yeah.
speech, but that does not mean that you're immune to the consequences of what things you say in public and in
Yeah.
public forums.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't think there's any issue.
Yeah. So,
saying that.
and then that article doesn't. It can be read in multiple ways.
Well, I read a very small part of it.
True, but it's still what part you read, and maybe this isn't true for the rest of it, but the part you read implies or can be read in a way that it says one side is more censored than the other, or it's saying that these three groups are censored exactly the same.
They're saying that what it's saying
For
is
different
those
reasons.
three groups are censored more than other groups,
Right.
but they're censored for different reasons.
Right.
You know that conservatives are being censored because
Of hate speech and false
things like
information.
that.
Seems to me like the other two are the ones who are actually have a grievance.
Yes, because they're not. According to the research article, it wasn't necessarily. It was under a lot of times. It was under the guise of going against like moderation policy or things that you're allowed to talk about on there. But it was really kind of fell into more of a gray area with those groups. That basically their content was being removed because they're complaining about being marginalized.
Right. Yeah, which to me is, that's like I said, a more egregious thing than
Yeah.
spreading hate
But that's
speech.
the thing I would I would say though is when you look at when people complain about, well, I'm being censored. Okay, well let's not just say, okay, that's fine, or oh, that's wrong, and move on. Let's actually see why you're being censored.
Right.
Let's see why your content's being removed. What are you posting? Is there a pattern of things that you're posting? That's why Donald Trump isn't on social media anymore. Is because it wasn't necessarily because of what happened on January 6th. It was a years-long struggle of things that he repeatedly kept getting warned about, and eventually they were like, "Look, we've got to stop at some point."
Right.
You know.
Do you think now, like in not normal, but in like other situations that are less incendiary? So, like, if you're part of a vinyl record face group page, like we
Okay.
are,
Yeah, like you should go
But
join. You should go join the
Yes.
Vinyl Den Facebook
but
group.
you feel that you say an artist that you really like doesn't get enough attention, so you make your own Facebook page that's strictly about that artist.
Yeah.
That's very innocuous and very, harmless and everything. Would it be borderline segregationalist to say that those other groups, because we know the conservatives are doing it anyway,
Yeah.
but if the African American community is feeling marginalized and they're not allowed to express that on current social media, should they just go and make their own? Because it is
That's what-
on
that's-
the
that's
surface
what-
you could look
that's-
at it as like kind of
That's what-
reverse segregation. It's not
Well,
the
yeah.
reverse of against white people, just reverse in the sense that we shouldn't be working towards segregating. We should be working towards unifying.
Yeah, that's exactly what the conservatives did with Parler.
Right, and that's okay. I don't mind when those fringe groups go off and just do their own thing, because I don't want to. They shouldn't be in the public square. They want to, exist within their own little, hate-filled bubble. They're allowed to. But like I said,
I don't have a problem with that.
Trans groups being able to discuss legitimate concerns that are, maybe considered adult, but are really just basic human sexuality.
Yeah.
And being able to discuss those through a social media platform. Should they just go and make their own? But again, then it's like, to me, it feels like we're just segregating these groups.
Yes, and I do see kind of both sides of it, because you're right, it is kind of segregating it. But that's why, like, Facebook in particular, like, moving forward, I think the future of Facebook is going to be more group based, because of just what you said. Just because, like me, I don't want to I don't interact a lot on Facebook outside of our Facebook group,
right?
Because I don't, I don't like dealing with the stupid bullshit that people post on there, and and that's why, like, moving forward, I think people are either going to just completely get off of Facebook, or they'll move to strictly only being in certain groups. But like you said, then you're kind of just insulating yourself,
right?
And you're only dealing with this echo chamber where those
no new ideas are filtering in.
Exactly.
Maybe it would be good for some people to see how trans people feel about certain human sexual things.
Yeah.
Not on a graphic level, but maybe helps just help them to understand. And if African Americans, and they should, feel marginalized, because they are in many areas still, if they can't express that themselves, no one's going to know.
No.
So,
and that's kind of the big. I think it's a big thing that's driven this division in our society. Is it's not purely on hate. It's really just misunderstanding.
Right. Well, I think a lot of it is hate, at least from one side. But you're right. I mean, there's things that I don't understand about the trans community.
A lot of that hate is even based
on ignorance.
Based on that's
Right.
understanding, misunderstanding.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot about trans. The trans, experience. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I never will. But I'm at least open to learn.
Yeah.
And to try to help and understand those who are trans, and to be accepting of them regardless of my understanding.
Yeah. No, that's how you should be.
That's how you should be. But being exposed to that isn't going to hurt me in any way. Being exposed to new ideas and those things aren't going to affect me. But if trans people were out there saying, sex normal people are an abomination and probably shouldn't be allowed in society.
Cisgendered people.
Yeah, cisgendered people are an abomination, and trans is the only way to go.
Yeah.
That would be a different story, but that's not what they're doing. If black people were up or were just saying, we're marginalized, we're not going to take it anymore, we're going to kill all the white people, that would be a different story.
Well, don't kill all the white people. Save me.
Well, right. Some of us are allies, right? But no, I mean, that kind of speech I can see.
Yeah.
But just expressing the idea and the concept that, yes, we're marginalized and we don't like it.
Yeah.
And we want to do something about it. To me, that's just normal discourse. It's normal conversation.
Yeah. I will say that it's like going back to like the whole misunderstanding or the issues that drive a wedge in our society. You also have to remember that we are from a more diverse area. We both grew up in rather diverse areas. The school we went to, there was a lot of gay people that we went to school with. And
even in the 90s.
Even in the 90s.
Yeah.
And if you're living in the middle of nowhere in Kansas, you're not having that experience.
Right.
A lot of times those people, they may never encounter at least an openly gay person or an openly transgender person.
Right.
And a lot of instances, they probably aren't running into minorities very often either.
No,
a lot
not around their homes and their schools.
No.
Just maybe when they go to the cities.
If they even go to the cities, because I know people that don't, because of that reason. People that I knew in Tennessee that wouldn't go into Nashville because of, or they wouldn't go into Nashville without taking their gun with them. Which I'm not shitting you. My hand to God, I worked with a guy that would not go into Nashville without his gun. I'm like, why? They're not going to eat you.
Right.
But, but it's that life experience though, where a lot of people in more remote, rural, white areas in this country, unless they're going to college, they'll never meet any of those people.
Right.
And it's hard to just have an understanding of a lifestyle like that you just don't, that you've never come in contact with. You never actually had a conversation with somebody that is openly gay or openly transgender.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is, but to me,
I don't think there is one.
I mean, even in the relatively diverse areas like what we grew up in, there was a lot of judgment and a lot of hate.
Oh,
there,
absolutely.
too.
And there was a lot of
So
we went to school with skinheads and Nazis and all that
Right.
stuff too.
So it's just, I think it's not just that. It's kind of an amalgamation of a lot of different things that need to happen. For me, it should just boil down to, if it doesn't affect you, mind your own fucking business.
I don't care. There's a
if you're a dude and you go into a bathroom and the dude standing next to you used to be a woman, are you going to know that?
Yeah.
Are you going to care?
There's a podcast I listened to where one of the hosts said recently, she said, I don't care what you do with it, just as long as you don't stick at me.
Right.
That's
it's kind of the basic. It should be just the basic principle of human
Yeah.
existence.
Yeah.
If it doesn't affect you, shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
If you have an opinion about it, great.
Who fucking cares?
Nobody. Yeah, exactly. Nobody fucking cares.
That's the thing that I can't tell you how many times I've seen arguments get started by that, where I just want to be like, okay, why are you saying that? No one asked you your opinion.
Right.
Stop volunteering your opinion if no one asked you for it.
Right.
Now it's different if you're having a conversation with somebody about a topic, then you can voice your opinion. But if you are not involved in a conversation, just shut the fuck up. Yeah. Because obviously, if they're not talking to you about it, they don't fucking care about your opinion anyway.
And it's so weird. I mean, that's the rise of the Karen is a perfect example of that. The antithesis of that. It's because it's like, just mind your own fucking business.
Yeah.
So what if there's a black man walking down the same fucking sidewalk that you're walking down? I mean, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Shut your fucking mouth. You're not that goddamn important.
Yeah. I had an instance in a situation at work recently. I might have talked about it on the show or not. I'm not sure. But where I had something like that kind of happen, where I was having a conversation with one of our former coworkers who now works in a different position, but still within our department. And then a nurse overheard our conversation and was offended by something I said and like made kind of a big deal about it. And I want to be like, first off, it wasn't like nothing. It wasn't like,
you weren't like cursing
it wasn't like anything disgusting, which I can say things that are pretty bad at work too. But
you get away with a lot, yeah.
I do.
You do.
But this is one of the instances where I just said, I was talking more so about our position and how I didn't know how people stayed in a position like ours like for a long period of time. It was, it wasn't anything like really bad. And she was offended by what I said, and I want to be like, shut the fuck up. I wasn't talking to you. You weren't involved in this conversation.
Right.
Go the fuck away. It didn't even involve anything with you or anything else.
Yeah. No, I know.
Shut the fuck up and go away.
Yeah. Mind your own fucking
Yes.
business.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear conversations all the time where a part of me is like, man, I want to say something.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't say it.
I think a lot of that kind of boils back to social media, though, because we've had this like, when did social media like get really big? Like 2008, 2009. So we've had this like over 10-year romance with social media,
But
and people have been trained now to automatically speak when they're not part of the conversation, because that's what you do in social media.
And I could understand that if we were talking about a younger generation, but this isn't just a younger generation.
No,
And I've been you and I have been exposed to the social media thing for the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So what makes us different?
because there's been this like long period in, I'm 42 years old. For a vast majority of my life, it was
Mind your own
mind
fucking
your own
business.
fucking business. And I think a lot of people had that like, well, I don't want to shut my fucking mouth. I don't want to. Why should I have to?
I
not
have
say-
a right.
I've got a right. I should have a right to say what I want to say. And social media has made it okay to be like
to do that and to do it without any consequence.
Exactly. So I think that's kind of where you get older people that are older than me that are these like just shut the fuck up and go away. I don't wanna hear
the only
about it.
time it is important that you don't mind your own fucking business is if you see someone being hurt.
Yeah.
Then you can step in. That's a different story. But other than that,
And I will openly admit there are quite a few times where I probably just shut the fuck up and go away myself. But
Right.
I kind of do.
I'm sure I push the boundaries myself, but I know when to stop.
Yes, exactly. That's the point.
I know when it's no longer any of my business to be commenting on this situation, or anything that I'm going to add isn't going to make any fucking difference anyway.
Yeah.
So,
There's never a point where someone else is having a conversation. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so mad about what they're talking about. I need to get involved in this.
Right.
That's never happened.
well, I felt it, but I know better. I just know it's not my fucking business.
Yeah.
That
Well, 'cause
conversation is not involving me.
Yeah.
Even though I may have an opinion about it and it may make me mad. It's nothing to do with me.
Yeah. It's like I said, I think a lot of it kind of goes back to social media and
Oh, it probably does.
and the way that we've been trained
I
over the
think
last
I think
10
it's
plus years.
that and American elitism too, because I don't think that happens in other countries the way it does here.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I honestly don't
I'm
know.
saying that. I guess I'm saying that. I'm pulling that out of my ass to a degree, but I just get the impression.
Don't sell that underwear.
You never know. I might get top dollar for that one. Corn's free.
Oh Jesus.
But anyway, I just get the impression that it's not the same in other countries, because the dynamics of the social personalities are different.
Yeah.
Americans have a big ego,
Oh, absolutely.
and we are arrogant, we are conceited, we are elitist to everyone else in the world.
Yeah.
Because for decades we've been told we're the best people in the world.
Yeah.
We are the best, the pinnacle of human existence.
Mm-hmm.
And now people are actually starting to fucking believe it. And it's
Well,
and
but
it's
there's one thing to believe it, and there's another thing to
act on it.
Act on it.
Yeah, well, I think most people are acting on it too. And because I'm rational, I can look at the big picture and go, yeah, we're probably not.
We are in some aspects. We aren't in others.
Well, right now the only thing we're good at is being fucking stupid,
Well,
stupid and arrogant.
and making weapons.
Oh yeah, we're great at that.
We're great at that.
Wars and weapons. And actually, lately, we haven't been that great at the wars. But weapons, for sure. We can make weapons like nobody's business.
I don't know. 2 out of the last 5 wars were okay.
I guess. But yeah, I mean, it is the very definition of stupidity to pretend that you know something, even though you don't.
Yeah.
And then when you're proven wrong, to ignore the results.
Well, it's like you said earlier. It's the mentality where people are so insulated now that, like you said, there is no way of getting in new information or information that contradicts something that they believe.
right.
And when you do, automatically now it's, well, that's not real. That's a lie.
Yeah. The thing is that we've got to change. Believing something does not make it true. Period. Facts are facts. At the end of the day, facts are facts. If someone gives you facts and you doubt those facts, you're well within your right to do that. And maybe you should doubt every fact you see, but doubt it and then look into it.
Yes, and the looking into a part is where
Yeah.
people struggle.
And the problem is whenever someone tells you that they've done their research, they haven't. If they did,
That's
they
not necessarily
researched.
true because
Chances are they've done the research within their bubble. They've looked at articles within their bubble. They look for things to corroborate their already established
Yeah.
belief about something.
because I'll say, like, when it comes to like COVID vaccines, I've done a lot of fucking research on this shit. Now, granted, I'm also a nursing school student. I work in healthcare, so the information the amount of information that it takes to properly,
I've
thoroughly...
actually had someone tell me they did their research. And when I asked them how they did their research, because they did not work in the medical field, they were not scientists or biologists or of any kind, and no training in that field at all. I said, how did you do your research? They said, well, I went and looked at articles. I said, that's not research.
Depending on what the articles are.
Yeah, but
where they come from.
What they were talking about, what they were saying is...
News articles.
Right.
News articles aren't research.
No, and that's what they were talking about. But also they were...
Especially since a lot of those news articles, quote-unquote news articles, are opinion articles and not actual news.
But what they were challenging was the actual science of the vaccine.
Yeah.
So when I said, did you do your research, in order for them to say yes, they would have actually had to do their research in a lab the same way the research has already been done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's enough information out there. There's enough like actual research, lab research that has been done on vaccines. Like before we started recording, they've been doing research on mRNA vaccines for literally 15 fucking years. Right. So there's a lot of lab information out there that you don't necessarily have to do the lab research yourself. That you can research through the information that's provided, because there are literally dozens of research articles that have been done over the last, like I said, 15 years talking about mRNA vaccines, the effects of it. If you have a basic understanding, like I said before, the basic lack of the lack of basic understanding of biology in this country has led us to the point where we are now also.
Right.
Because the people don't understand how mRNA works versus DNA. They don't understand how proteins work in the body. Just how that's why I said, if you've got a basic understanding of biology, you're able to do research without having to actually go into a lab.
Yeah. Well, like I said, these are people who wouldn't even understand the language that you just used.
But the thing is, though, that takes time. It takes effort to actually go and do that. Right. People nowadays, they don't have the time, and they sure as hell don't have the effort to actually do it.
No, because all they need to do is turn on their favorite news channel.
Yeah.
And it tells you everything you need to know.
Exactly.
Or go on to Facebook to your favorite, whatever you follow, your friends, your family, and
your favorite stream.
Your favorite stream, and just go, well, that confirmed my beliefs.
Yeah. And you're right, because it's the lazy way to do it. Mm-hmm. Because why? Oh, well, why do all the research when this person who I trust on the news, the quote unquote news, or my friend that I've known since kindergarten on social media, well, she's already done her research, so I don't have to do it. They just told me what they learned.
Right.
And that's how the bullshit cycle continues.
Yep.
And we get to where we are now,
Speaking of which, we did have a topic, but I don't think we're going to get to it.
Oh, we're already over half an hour into this episode.
Maybe we'll save that topic for next week.
Maybe we will. Yeah. I do want to get to let's actually get to the topic, because we are because this is the episode that comes out on Halloween, so I did want to get to this topic. Okay. So are we done with the social media bashing?
I'm done with it. But
I mean, because I can bash on social media for hours if I have to.
Oh yeah.
But so what we were, so I think it was like last week, 2 weeks ago, within the last couple of weeks, we talked about ghost investigations.
Mm-hmm.
And because today is Halloween, if you're listening to this episode on the day it comes out, or shortly after, we wanted to kind of go back and kind of cover that a little bit more in depth, because I've never watched. I don't think I've only seen maybe a couple of different ghost investigation shows, but Ian, you've seen a lot of them.
I've watched a lot of them, and I'm someone who does not believe in ghosts.
And I kind of do.
Right.
So
I don't believe necessarily in ghosts. I'm, like anything else, I'm open to the possibility if someone can give me actual evidence, but I don't believe, because I don't believe these shows have given me any evidence.
Yeah.
But they're fun to watch.
It's entertainment.
But that being said, I've watched regularly.
What are the big ones?
Ghost Adventures is one of the biggest ones. That one's been on for 25 seasons.
So that's like
12 years.
Okay, I was going to say it's like 5 years.
Yeah, no, it's like 12 years in
like
cable.
12 episodes a year.
6 to
12,
8. 6 or 6 to 10.
12 seasons a year.
Right. Yeah, there's like 6 to 8 episodes, I think, a season.
So they do like multiple seasons in a single year.
Yes, yeah, at least 2. So yeah, that's 25 seasons, and then there's another one called
Are these just based? Are these all like only on TV, or is they on TV and some are on like YouTube or?
No, these are all the ones I'm going to mention are all on the Travel Channel or Destination America. Those are
How are those two channels have ghost investigation?
Because
shows?
they go to different locations, so you can get away with it on the Travel Channel.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Well, the TLC, the Learning Channel, is all fucking like 90 Days Fiance and shit.
But that's like saying, well, the guy that's standing in the corner of the shot is eating a hamburger, so it can be on the Food Network.
Right. True, but that's what the networks are. They have them, so
that's funny.
So yeah, everything I'm mentioning are actual legitimate like network shows.
Okay. So
Ghost Adventures is probably the biggest one. The original one was Ghost Hunters, and that was on in the 90s.
I think that was the one I saw.
And that one was garbage. But it was the 90s, and that was the first.
Because I think that was the one that Dave used to watch.
Yes, Dave used to watch that one a lot. I think he even had some on DVD. The thing I didn't like about that one was they claim, and this is truly true for all of them, but they did it poorly. So say they're going around a corner, and they've got their infrared cameras on, and they turn the corner, and just as it's about to hit, say, like a room, they like flash away and start running away. Oh my God, I saw something. You didn't show us anything. The point of it being videotaped is that we get to see it. And you're not showing us anything.
Yeah, I always thought that was kind of funny.
They all do it.
Oh, do they?
They all do it. Not as bad, though. Because that was the only thing they had. They just had cameras. This was even before they were starting, like, EVPs
I
and
thought
stuff.
they had some other kind of equipment.
Not really. They would do, like, the EMF, that kind of thing, electromagnetic fields and stuff. But they didn't really have, like, EVPs yet. It wasn't really part of the lexicon yet.
Okay.
That came much later. Ghost Adventures was the first channel to really try to do a lot of equipment, little different stuff.
Yeah.
The problem is that you've got these, and you even have like these, they have people who work with them who actually invent and create new techniques and new equipment. The problem is that in order to know what...
You don't know what they're really doing.
Well, it's not only that. I don't think they know.
Yeah.
Because
well, no, what I'm saying
if you suspect that ghosts can communicate through radio waves, but you can't prove that they communicate through radio waves, creating a device that examines radio waves isn't necessarily proof.
Yeah.
Because you haven't established that that's going to work.
Yeah.
Even though it might show results, it's not proof that it's actually working.
It's not verifiable.
Exactly. So that being said, there have been times where they've gotten stuff and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. As a skeptic, I'm like, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Again, it's on TV though too.
Yeah. Which we all know is reality TV is not reality.
Well, let me put it to you this way. Let's take Ghost Adventures for example, because like I said, that one's been on the longest straight through. So Zach Baggins is the main
Bilbo.
No, it's spelled
Frodo.
It's spelled differently. Oh. He's the main guy, and he's been on the show. He started the show. He produced the show. All that. He is. Imagine the kid you grew up with who was kind of bullied a lot, but wasn't like a total nerd. But he was. It was obvious he did not handle being bullied.
Yeah.
So he worked out a lot and then became really arrogant about it. That's Zach Baggins. Okay. So, not just in the workout, but he's just arrogant. He has a certain arrogance about him, which is fine. Early on, it wasn't even that noticeable, but it's really bad now. But anyway, so he started it, and as the shows go on, the seasons have gone on. Like I said, they've introduced new equipment and new techniques. They've had a few personnel changes, which are fine. That's nothing major. The problem I have is that as the series has gone on, he's gotten more and more, and I'm doing this in air quotes, sensitive. So it's not just about walking into a room with an EMF meter now. Every episode, I'm feeling sick, or I feel a pressure here.
One of those.
Yes. And it's gotten so bad to the point now where like everyone else is doing it too.
Nice.
It's like, I don't know. Both my parents like the show too, and I'm getting to the point where I almost don't even want to watch Ghost Adventures anymore. They did us.
They've always seemed kind of hokey to me.
Early on, they weren't, or I should say, more in the middle. When the middle of the series, they were really kind of trying to be.
But you have to remember,
scientific.
the most experience I've had with any of these shows was Ghost Hunters.
Right, and that's not the people who did Ghost Hunters are back in other shows. The main guy who did Ghost Hunters has Ghost Nation and another show. I
Yeah.
can't remember the name of that. And they actually brought back the original Ghost Hunters crew to do a season this year, which I haven't watched.
So they've like spun off and created new shows on the old show.
Yeah.
So it was like Jefferson Airplane turned into Jefferson
Just
Starship and then turning into Starship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Kinda.
actually, didn't Jefferson Airplane split off? So the Jefferson Airplane became Jefferson Starship and a different band. It was like Hot Pie or something like that. That they
Humble Pie?
No, it wasn't Humble Pie.
I don't know.
It was Hot. So I don't remember what.
Hot Tuna?
Hot Fudge. I don't know. It was
Actually, there are bands called Hot Fudge,
I know.
Hot Tuna.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was Hot Tuna.
Was it Hot Tuna?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was Hot Tuna and Jefferson Starship. Though they both split off of Jefferson Airplane.
Okay. And then Starship, as you pointed out
Yeah.
in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've all done that. In fact,
See, I can make a music reference to almost anything.
so Ghost Adventures, when it started out, you had Zach Baggins and you had Nick Groff. They were like the two main investigators, and then you had Aaron Gooding, I think his last name is. And he's like their camera guy. He's like
Yeah.
their main tech guy. As far as like camera work. We'll call him the cameraman. But he's always been with them in the investigations, involved in, with them. So he's been part of that crew. Well, Nick ended up leaving, and I'm sure it was an ego issue between him and Zach. Nothing's ever been said, but I'm sure that's what it was. He's tried 3 different shows of his own. None of them have managed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the longest one went 2 seasons.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah.
And this is the camera guy?
No, this is the other investigator.
Oh,
guy.
okay, the other guy. The other guy that was with the Bilbo guy.
Yeah, Bilbo guy. So, now, we can make fun of him, but he's a multi-millionaire.
Oh.
He has a
I make fun of millionaires
Haunted-
and billionaires all the time.
he has a haunted mansion or haunted museum where he's collected haunted items and
So what are you saying? What you're saying is he's bilked people out of millions of dollars.
theoretically he is the modern day Warrens.
Yeah.
You
He's a charlatan.
Well, arguably he could be. Like I said, I enjoyed watching the show. I still do most of the time, but it's like, anyway, they just did a 2-hour special where they went back to this hotel thing that they had started. It was one of the first investigations they ever did, and they've been back there one other time since then. But in their opinion, it's one of the most haunted places they've ever been in.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, like I said, it's 2 hours. So through the beginning, they've got this psychic guy working with them, and I'm always going to be skeptical of psychics.
Yeah.
He's like channeling voices and blah blah blah, and Zach's of course feeding. And this is the funny thing: they always talk to people who work there or own it or have investigated, and it's always funny that if you paid close attention, little things that they say affect them will always affect Zach.
Yeah.
Always. So if someone says, we get these weird headaches, I guarantee you at some point, Zach's going to get a fucking headache.
Really?
Guaranteed. Because he can't be, he can't.
You're not making me want to watch this show.
Right. Like I said, there are a lot of good episodes, but you got to take it as entertainment. You can't
Yeah,
take it as actual investigation.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so you've got the psychic. He's channeling voices and shit, and Zach's doing his, I'm sick and I'm feeling angry, because that's a big one. Especially if there's negative energy, it's always I just want to punch you. It's like
What?
it's like the spirits are making them angry, wanting to lash out. So
that sounds logical.
yeah. So at this point, now Aaron is kind of the funny guy too. Like he's funny, but he doesn't try to be funny. He's just kind of the funny guy. He'll have he'll get sick and stuff, but he actually lunged at one of the other guys in this.
Really?
Yeah, jumped on him and grabbed him. They had to pull him off. And I'm like, this is
because of the
the
spirit?
negative spirits. Yeah, and I'm just like, this is getting hokey.
Yeah.
I can at least accept that something might be going on with the EVPs. We might be getting voices in the EVPs. I can accept that you might be getting a response through the Ovilus, which is it cycles through radio channels at a super fast rate. So if it catches a word, they say you're picking up spirit words, because even one word would be over several channels. It wouldn't be just one channel.
Yeah.
So I can accept that maybe those are catching something. But when you're talking about it made me want to beat you up, it's like
it sounds stupid.
It sounds hokey, yeah. And that's kind of what Ghost Adventures has become, and I don't really like that. There's another one that I watch. It's called Kindred Spirits. It's 2 investigators and they have
That sounds like a romantic comedy.
well, it's a man and a woman, but I think the guy's gay. I could be wrong. She's married anyway. But anyway,
I'm just saying it sounds like a name for a romantic comedy.
the two
movie.
investigators or Kindred Spirits.
Kindred Spirits.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, I'm sorry. But anyway, so what they do is people call into them and say, "My house is haunted. I'm scared. I don't know if I should stay or go or whatever.
It's making me angry.
Can you come and investigate and see if we should, if we should get out? What, It's what most of their cases are. They've done 5 seasons so far.
Yeah.
And what they pretty much kind of focus on just the equipment, mainly EVPs. There's no I feel this they might a little bit, but it's very minimal.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch. Again, it's entertainment. I'm not getting any evidence of the afterlife from the show, but it's well done. And then there's the other one that I really like watching is called the Holzer Files.
Okay.
Hans Holzer was a paranormal investigator back in the 60s through I think he even predated the Warrens.
Yeah.
And what they do is they re-examine his cases. And that one's only gone 2 seasons, unfortunately. I don't know if there's no talk on whether or not there's going to be a third, but there hasn't been talk that's canceled. I really hope there is a third. That one's fun to watch because it's entertaining, and it's looking at past investigations through a different lens.
Are they a little bit more objective?
They seem to be.
Okay,
they seem to be. They do have a psychic, but she's not she's never channeling
she's not like
voices.
Madame Cleo,
No, she's. I wouldn't say I believe she's got the power, but she's definitely not. She's definitely not hamming it up for the camera. So, I can watch her.
She's got the shit in.
Yeah, the psychic for the Kindred Spirits people. He's kind of he's this little short gay guy.
Yeah,
and he hams it up a little bit, but he's gotten things right, at least as far as the audience can understand, because he's supposed to take him into these places blindfolded. He's not supposed to know where they're at, know any details, and he gets things, says things. So who knows? But I don't believe it. I just until you can really define what these things are and where this ability might come from, and that it's actually a thing, and that then you have to establish whether or not there's actually a spirit world or actually a spirit.
Yeah.
All that stuff has to be proven before I'm like, oh yeah, I believe in this. But there's things that make me go, huh, interesting.
There's definitely from the limited amount of exposure I've had to those shows, there's always something that's like, okay, that's kind of interesting, but it's like I always feel like I'm watching the Halloween version of the fucking Bachelor. It's like at some point I'm like during the episode I'm like, oh my god, I can't fucking watch this anymore.
Right. There's some episodes of Ghost Adventures that lately especially has been like that. But Kindred Spirits, like I said, that's a fun one that you can just kind of, it's very tame.
Yeah.
And the Holzer Files, like I said, has the historical element to it. So, those are the two. If I was going to recommend to anybody out there, I would say Holzer Files and Kindred Spirits for sure. Ghost Adventures, you're going to laugh. Zach has this tendency he always talks a big game. He's like, I've been doing this for decades, and he'll challenge spirits. But then there's this dark room.
Challenge the spirits to what? A game of chess?
Well, he'll call them out.
Yeah.
You've been picking on people. Blah blah. Me, big man.
Do you know who I am?
Right.
To the fucking ghost.
So, but then they'll be in this dark hallway where there's this dark room, and he'd be like, Aaron, I want you to go in there by yourself. And then he'll lock the door on them.
Really?
Yeah. And he does it to all of them.
That seems like a dick move.
He is. He's kind of a dick. And they've called him out on it. They're like, seriously, you're sending me in there by myself again? Why aren't you going in there? You're
the big tough guy.
Yeah. And he's like, but I got to investigate. And that's the kind of shit he does. So, I think to some degree he does believe in this shit. Yeah. I really do. I haven't looked into it, but
he believes in all the money he's making off of it.
Right. Yes. Now, there was apparently they did a live episode, and there was somebody they had brought on, some kind of an expert of something. And I've only seen the clip once, so I don't know the context. But Zach asks him something, and he goes, well, not in the way you're going to want on video. He basically saying, yeah, it's nothing. Whatever you just asked him is it's not ghost.
Yeah.
You're not going to like the answer. And Zach looks at the camera and goes, okay, and just walks away.
Oops.
Right. It's like, so I'm sure there's maybe some scripting, but to me that says that maybe they're not scripting as much as other shows might.
Huh.
Because they would never, I mean, granted it was a live show, but
so none of that stuff is like reality TV isn't like scripted.
Yeah.
It's just edited
yeah,
in a
but
scripted way.
it's scripted if these people are pretending to be like partially possessed by demons
yes,
and shit.
Yes.
You know?
Well, yeah. Definitely.
Which they are. They do. They're like, they, in their minds, I had no control. I didn't even know what was going on. I
Yeah.
blacked out, that kind of
I
stuff.
started spitting up pea soup.
None of them have done that yet. There's another show. It's paranormal adjacent. It's called Destination Fear. And it's this guy and his best friend, his best friend growing up, his sister, and another friend of his. And what they do is they go into these extremely haunted locations to test the level of fear.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they have equipment and they're kind of doing a little bit of investigation. But ultimately, it boils down to each one of them has to pick a location within this location and sleep the night by themselves to see how long they can really handle and what effect fear has on them. That one's not bad to watch either,
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have anything else to add. It's just
Like I said, I'm a very skeptical person about all of it, but it's fun to watch. I like horror stuff. I like scary stuff.
yeah.
So it's kind of in my wheelhouse, and I don't necessarily have to believe in it to enjoy it. So if you don't believe in it, you might still enjoy some of this shit.
I don't know. I'll definitely check out some of it because I like I said, I've had very limited interactions with those shows, and I haven't watched anything in probably at least the last 5 or 6 years.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
So that means I missed the last 15 seasons of that show.
right. Well, like I said, I think it started in like 2011, 2012,
Yeah.
and they're in season 25.
Okay.
So that tells you anything. They just finished season 25.
But
During the pandemic.
yeah. Well, if you got any questions or comments, you can email us at lifeingeneralpod@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook. Ian, anything else?
No, happy
No?
Halloween.
No, yeah, happy Halloween. Everyone have a safe and happy Halloween out there.
Yep.
Well, until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Stop. Why you gotta fucking whisper?
Why not?
Peace.
Playing my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, old lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you took over if you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, them niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bro. We taking the dub, hoping you get you some. This hit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon.
Oh shit, watch out, you the god, Billy. Oh shit, right now, and I'm smiling in your face, bitch. With a gold smile, you should probably make placement to your eye. Niggas sick as fuck, standing with niggas who down for that party, who down for some bitches who showing their bodies.